All right, hello and welcome. Yes, the mic was muted, but that was intentional. We were setting up. Um, Welcome back for the finals of the Match Play Championship. This is the Kelly Bowl. Tom and Chris Kelly, not related. Tom Kelly is at the bottom of your screen playing Darkside first. He's playing Raltier Operations. This is the same deck that we saw him play on camera in the semifinals. He starts Endor Shield, Establish Control, and Imperial Arrest Order and Secret Plans combo. Chris Kelly is playing He is the Chosen One. He starts Walkling, Like My Father Before Me, and Insurrection and Aim High. And of course, He is the Chosen One also starts I Can Feel the Conflict. So first action that we see from Tom as the game gets underway, he uses Endor Shield to pull out Admiral Piet and Admiral Ozzel. He's probably going to put Admiral Piet down on turn 1 to the Executor docking bay that he'll pull out with Imperial Arrest Order, and then use Piet to fetch out Commander Desan, put Desan down with Piet, and use that to pull his ships. This is not going to be a matchup that's going to be contested in space. As you see Chris Kelly's hand here, rescue a couple of characters. There's a Luke as well. At the end, Chris saved the best for last in his hand. Kirkanos, Emperor's Personal Shuttle, General Veers, Blizzard 2, Vanny, Admiral Mahdi, Spaceport Prefect's Office, and then the two characters that you already saw, Tom Pol Piet and Ozzel. So the way that it's a very good ROPS hand, especially the combo of Veers and Blizzard 2 is something that's going to be very tough for Chris to overcome if he's not playing under attack. And I do not have Chris's deck list. I do not know whether or not he is playing an under attack in his list. But Tom is going to go down. He's going to try to deploy a bunch of Raltier sites, flip his objective, and it will be on Chris Kelly, who is the mains player, to try to go to Raltier, invade Raltier, disrupt Tom Kelly's game plan, and Chris is going to try to win battles while doing it, make Tom stack cards on I Feel the Conflict. This is not the kind of matchup where Chris Kelly is going to be able to stay flipped, most likely, as Tom will probably have either Vader or the Emperor on the table to keep Chris on the 0 side of his objective, but that's not really the most important thing for Chris in this matchup. He just wants to disrupt Tom's damage potential, drain on Raltier, and the fact that he has main characters with weapons who can swing at Tom's Imperials, as well as characters like Luke who have an immunity to attrition are going to help him in this matchup. I do expect this as we see, looks like 3 Raltier sites from Tom hitting the table on turn 1. I do expect this to be a fairly close game, although a very, very strong start here from Tom Kelly with already 3 Raltier sites out on turn 1. Interesting that he did not pull the Executor docking bay with Imperial Arrest Order. He went straight for what we call the turbo flip, meaning get as many Raltier sites out as fast as possible. I suppose it's also possible that he activated the Executor docking bay, as now he's looking to simply draw cards. At this point, he's not deploying anything on turn 1. This is also going to give Chris Kelly a lot of activation on his first turn. He's getting 6 from himself, plus another 4 from Tom for a total of 10. Chris is going to dig through his deck. Pull out Home 1 Docking Bay with his Insurrection Aim High combo. We'll see if he has a Wisa in hand or not. I don't think I saw one earlier. He's just going to go straight with Luke to Ralt here. Aggressive early line from Chris Kelly, trying to prevent the flip on turn 2 from Tom. Now, we do know about the Blizzard 2 Veers combo in Tom Kelly's hand. Let's see if Chris is set up to deal with that. He does have an escape pod in hand, but he's not too worried about Luke getting overflowed. Chris Kelly also the turn 1 flip of his objective. He's going to get to retrieve his starting interrupt. It looks like 1 force saved for Chris Kelly. And yeah, I think if you're Tom, I think you have to just drop Blizzard 2 and Veers on Luke right now. You got enough force to do it. You want a second character on Blizzard 4 as well, so that you're not possibly losing them, because a Destiny draw 5 with Luke on the table cracks Blizzard 2's immunity, so you're going to want another high forfeit character, maybe Piet, on Blizzard 2 as well, just to make sure that you're not losing Veers and the Walker, but I think this is a chance that you can't really pass up. Chris is going to get a Verify here. Looks like Tom may have been looking for a Raltier site and whiffed. No locations of any kind in the deck, and some pretty good Destinies in there as well. Seems like a critical mass of characters in either the force pile or hand of Tom Kelly. So now we see Justice from Tom Kelly, stacking some pretty good Destinies. Domination, Masterful Move combo, Surface Defense. 3 Destiny 5s, and I bet Tom wishes he could have kept those in his deck, but oh well. If he takes 1 here, he can take Domination and get that going, but I don't see any reason to take a card off of Justice in this battle. It does stop Luke from adding 1 to the draw for Chris. I think that's only relevant if there's no... You do it so that he doesn't get the +1, but if you can get 6 forfeit on the Walker, I think you take that risk, because Chris Kelly's deck has a lot of ways to draw multiple Battle Destinies. Lando Scoundrel, Solo plus Ray. He is going to take Surface Defense. I suppose with only Ozzel as a forfeit 5 character, you may want to do that. This is 7 total Destiny. So it's just enough. Oh, and a draw of 6 naturally. big, big Battle Destiny draw there from Chris Kelly. And Ozil is gonna cover that regardless. Ozil forfeits for 6 because of the Imperial Arrest Order combo and Veers being at the Spaceport prefix office, giving him forfeit +1. Oh, and Luke stays because Tom did use Justice, and so Tarkin is only a destiny of 1 and not a destiny of 3. So not a particularly profitable battle for Tom Kelly, which is unfortunate because he had a lot of really, really good destinies in his reserve deck. It just didn't line up correctly for him. He pulls Battle Order to make Chris have to pay to drain, which I don't believe Chris is going to do. I'm not sure what Chris plays as far as a space package. I would assume he has Tanith 4. Well, Chris is going to pay 3 to drain 2, and Emperor and Janus move move the effect over. That'll add a Force icon. Prefix office now at 2/2. It's going to be really difficult for Tom Kelly to flip here. Especially if Chris Kelly can deploy to the docking bay on this turn. Tom Kelly plays 4 Raltier sites. So if Chris Kelly doesn't deploy anything else this turn, Tom theoretically can flip by playing his 4th Raltier site, controlling the 3 unoccupied, or the 3 Raltier sites that Chris doesn't occupy, and then moving over in front of Luke to flip his objective. But if Chris Kelly can deploy to a 2nd Raltier site, it's going to be very, very difficult for Tom Kelly to control 3 of the 4 Raltier sites. So we see EPP Obi-Wan down to the docking bay. Doesn't have any immunity, but a formidable character nevertheless. So now the equation becomes, in order for Tom to flip, he has to deploy the 4th Raltier site, he has to deploy cards to the unoccupied site as well as the docking bay. He needs to battle, clear Obi-Wan, and then move in front of Luke. And now Chris is able to retrieve his starting interrupt with the flip side of his objective. He has to pay for secret plans, which he was unable to do last turn. Another verify coming up. There is a Raltier site in there, so it looks like Maybe Tom looked for a docking bay and missed. He keeps his reserve deck face up. Probably planning to go back in there. There's the Executor docking bay. And the code clearance effect. That'll give all of Tom Kelly's ability 3 Imperials forfeit +3, and that includes General Veers. Now he's going to pull out the final Raltier site. See where he wants to put the spaceport city. He's going to put it all the way on the far left. Which I think makes it likely that he wants to battle Obi-Wan this turn. I think if he wasn't going to battle Obi-Wan, he would have split up the docking bay and the prefix office and put a site in between the two light side characters. I'm also curious when we see Tom go to space in this game. Something that he's going to need to do in order to start his damage output, whether or not he's flipped. And now we see Piet to the Executor docking bay. Tempest 1 going down to the spaceport docking bay. He's going to go fetch Thrawn. So this is the new virtual Mithra Neurodo on Tempest 1. Battles draws Desan, it looks like, for Battle Destiny against Obi-Wan. Also has Lieutenant Commander Arden at the spaceport city. And, oh, Chris Kelly draws a 0 for Battle Destiny, drew the battle planes. That is unfortunate. So Obi-Wan will die. Chris Kelly will play a Jedi's Resilience from hand to take Obi-Wan back into hand. Now Tom's going to get to flip. He moves Admiral Piet from the Executor docking bay to the spaceport docking bay. He uses the text on the spaceport street to move Thrawn to the spaceport street. He embarks Thrawn on Blizzard 2, moves Blizzard 2 over to the spaceport prefix office. That will flip his objective. He can now pull a card into hand from reserve deck, and now the question is, what does he want to do with Tempest 1? What does he want to do with Veers? He uses the street text to move Veers over, get back on Blizzard 2, and he's going to move Tempest 1 probably to meet up with Arden or vice versa. No, it looks like he might just leave Arden unprotected. Uses the street text. Well, now he's thinking about what he's going to do. He leaves Arden at the city, and he probably has a Gick in hand, but he knows about that Obi-Wan in Chris Kelly's hand, and if Obi-Wan just comes down against Arden now, along with another character, and is able to clear Arden, even if Tom Kelly's able to draw a Battle Destiny and clear one of the characters with one character at the city, and then Luke can move over to the street, that will flip Tom back. Meanwhile, important to note, all these characters that Tom has played so far, he has not found an Emperor or a Vader to flip back Chris Kelly. So Chris Kelly doing all of this on the 7 side, which means that he can draw the top card of his reserve deck during his control phase. Important source of card advantage. Docking Bay search for Chris Kelly in his deploy phase with Insurrection and Aim High. He gets the Echo Docking Bay. Still 2 locations left in his deck, the Boss Nass Chambers, and of course the Battle Planes, which we saw him draw for Battle Destiny on his last turn. So Obi and Lando in front of Arden. And this is sort of what I was saying before, where if he battles here, even if Tom comes up with a way to draw a Destiny, which I'm not even sure he can, plays Dark Time to activate a Force. Okay, Arden draws if unable to otherwise. So Tom can draw 1, but he's still not going to be able to clear both of Chris's characters. Presumably Obi, well, either of them could hang around, but whichever one hangs around, all Chris has to do is move Luke over to the Spaceport Street. And now Tom's back on the 0 side, not having accomplished all that much. You see Tom using Masterful Move that he took off of Justice in order to pull Gick into hand. Battle Destiny of 3 from Chris. And I think David John is at 2. Doesn't matter. It's going to be it's going to clear the site on Tom's side, and Chris is going to lose one of his 2 characters, and Tom is going to be able to Gick any overflow. Tom might want to think about Battle Destiny exchange with his objective, and he is going to put Mahdi in his lost pile and take Janice back into hand. No, he's thinking about it. He's put it back, which I don't know if you can do, because now you've looked at your lost pile. Now he's thinking of exchanging Vanny with the Emperor. So I'm not entirely sure of the timing on that. And he stacks Deva John to the I feel the conflict damage. Let's take a look at Raltier operations and see when you need to declare the So Raltier operations says, once per battle, when you draw Battle Destiny, you may exchange a card in hand with a card of same card type in lost pile. So it looks like you do need to declare the card you're exchanging before you look through your lost pile. But yeah, Phil, like you said, that's not the kind of thing that Chris Kelly is really going to enforce. Chris is a nice guy. Tom and Chris are both nice guys. And we do see Luke move over. That's going to flip the Rop's objective back. Tom's going to have to put a card from hand onto his used pile. And it's going to be an uphill battle. He does have 2 walkers at 2 sites, but he's going to need to clear Obi-Wan on his next turn in order to flip back and then move in front of Luke. And he still needs to find an opening to go to space, and it's not going to be this turn, most likely. Another verify for Chris, the 3rd straight turn he's been able to verify. Now you see some of those Destiny 5s that were previously stacked on Imperial Justice have made their way back into the reserve deck for Tom. He is going to go to space this turn. Emperor Shuttle down to Fondor. He'll play the Emperor board for free. No Goldenrod. He is paying 2, so maybe Chris has the shield out. Can't actually see Chris's shields. Admiral Mahdi aboard as well. So that ship is stacked up against Tantive 4, maybe Rogue 1. I don't think Chris is running Profundity. And now Tom is going to move his walkers over. Tempest 1 in front of Obi-Wan. Blizzard 2 in front of Luke. And now, finally, for the first time this game, Tom can maybe get some damage in on his next turn. He's going to draw a bunch of cards. Pass the turn back with a force pile. Chris Kelly's going to activate. The Emperor in space, notably, does not flip back Hitko. So Chris is still going to get to look at the top couple cards of his reserve deck, take one into hand. He's still going to get to retrieve at the end of the turn, assuming nothing changes. Looks like a docking bay search. Yeah, Chris would love to have an under attack right about now. As I said, I have not seen the deck list. I do not know if there is an under attack in Chris Kelly's deck. Looking at his, I think that was his hand. Saw Leia, saw Tantive 4. Chris could go Tantive 4 to Route here right now. if he thinks that he can back it up enough. No Dasan on table for Tom, so no way to pull Vader's shuttle. Ten and 4 in the front of the hand. Well, escape pod first. Chris Cully going to pull a Hoojix out of his deck.